We often hear stories about saints who do incredibly heroic things, who stand up to corruption, who sell everything to go and live with the poor, who face suffering with heroic virtue, or who are willing to die for the message of the faith. This isn't a random heroic decision. It's the continuation or the fulfillment of decisions that they've made day in and day out to do the right thing. Because I've been online for years, between this website, between social media, between this YouTube channel, there's apparently enough material for AI to say something about me. Well, at least most AI. My first stop was magisterium.com, a church-based AI. And because Magisterium AI doesn't use the whole internet, it focuses on the Bible, the Catechism, and other church documents, it didn't know who I was. It did give me criteria to judge whether Mike Landry, the Catholic guy, was someone worth paying attention to. Was he accurate? But it didn't do much more than that. But then I went to Google Gemini, and it said that Mike Landry is a prominent Catholic speaker, writer, and musician based in Alberta, Canada. He is best known for his work in youth ministry and his philosophy of being third. That prominent bit may go to my head. Microsoft Copilot, well, it gave me a 5-point summary of the themes that I usually talk about. An I am third spirituality, making Catholicism understandable for young people, reading scripture as a story that you're part of, the sacraments as encounters with Christ, and the vocation to everyday holiness. I like that because these are definitely themes that I try to talk about and to talk about often. But then Copilot started comparing me to big name Catholic speakers like Father Mike Schmitz, Chris Stefanik, and Bishop Robert Barron. And honestly, that's probably the only time I'll ever see myself in a list with those guys. ChatGPT was a bit of a downer. It said that Mike Landry didn't point to any recognized or notable Catholic figure. But once I gave it more specific information, it recognized that I am in fact a real person. But as I read on, it completely misunderstood the premise of these 5-minute videos. ChatGPT explained that one of my primary messages is a just 5 more minutes talk about the spiritual dangers of procrastination, how sleeping in and being lazy can be detrimental to our faith. Thing is, I've never given that talk. And when I pressed ChatGPT on this point, it admitted that it was wrong and had generalized using incorrect information. This is a good reminder to all of us that AI is a tool and we need to use it properly. But I'm going to take that error as a moment of inspiration. Although until now, I've never posted a talk on this, there are in fact some spiritual dangers to being lazy. This is why laziness is one of the 7 deadly sins. In his book, The Way, St. Josemaria Escriva wrote about what he calls the heroic minute. He says that the heroic minute is the time fixed for getting up, without hesitation, a supernatural reflection, and up. The heroic minute, here you have a mortification that strengthens your will and does no harm to your body. The heroic minute reminds us that we face many internal struggles every day. These temptations can vary from mild distractions like the constant notifications on our phone, temptations to gossip, to watch or consume media that isn't good for us, and more serious things too. And Josemaria Escriva is suggesting that starting well can set us up for better things the whole day through. He's putting a practical spin on what Jesus told his followers when he invited them to deny themselves, take up their cross daily, and follow. We often hear stories about saints who do incredibly heroic things, who stand up to corruption, who sell everything to go and live with the poor, who face suffering with heroic virtue, or who are willing to die for the message of the faith. This isn't a random heroic decision. It's the continuation or the fulfillment of decisions that they've made day in and day out to do the right thing. If it was to get up at 6:30 in the morning, then they get up at 6:30 in the morning and not 6:31. If it was to pray for 10 minutes every day, then they pray for 10 minutes a day, not 9. They don't shortchange their acts of faith. If it was to do some act of service or charity, it means to give their all to that place, that circumstance, that moment. The challenge of the heroic minute is to stop snoozing. Don't take just 5 more minutes before you get up in the morning, or to answer when your parents call you to do chores, or to dinner, or to get down to business, whether that's homework or real work. Do it now. What St. Josemaria invited us to do was not to take the 5 more minutes, not to wait. Or as the psalmist writes, "Oh, that today you would listen to his voice. Do not harden your hearts."